guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be my May wrap up for my A to C reading challenge. I just filmed an A to C project pen. Now it's an A to C reading challenge, and this is in collab with a ton of other project penners who also enjoy to read. So we kind of gathered our love of penning and reading and combined it into this little thing where we want to read a book for each letter of the alphabet. You can choose to do it however you want. I am going by the letters of the title, and I'm going specifically for the first letter of the title, with the exception if it's like if the title is the blank blank, I'll go with the second word in the letter. I hope you know what I mean. So as of last update, I still had 12 letters left, and unfortunately I only read I ate 8 books. I read 8 books this month, but only 2 letters fit the alphabet. So let's just get started. For the letter I read I Can't Make This Up by Kevin Hart. This is his kind of like memoir type book, and it's really funny. Excuse the Target sticker here. I tried to take it off and I couldn't. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when you can't take off stickers. But anyway, I read this. This is kind of like his, like I said, memoir. I listened to this on audiobook, and it's really funny. It's not a perfect book. There were parts where I was kind of like bored with it, but overall it's Kevin Hart. It was very funny at times. Usually I speed up my books when I listen to them on audiobook, but for this one I had to like keep it like at a normal speed because he talks super fast. Like his normal speed is very fast. So I did have to listen to it at 1.25. Usually I listen to a 1.75. But yeah, this one I had to slow it down because it was just like I couldn't understand a thing, so I slowed it down. Overall, I really enjoyed it. I laughed out loud at some parts. Really interesting, and I would recommend it if you're up for a good laugh. This is a good one. And the second letter that I completed was for the letter N, and that is 9 Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty. This is like the second or third book that I read from Leanne Moriarty, and I overall like her books. However, this one was just weird. This story is about 9 strangers who end up at this kind of like a spa retreat, but like these weird things go on at this spa place. And then this book has it has 9 points of views. So I was really confused especially at the beginning, as to who was talking and whose storyline belonged to who. And because there's so many points of views, you can't really connect with any of the characters because you don't get to know them very well. And then the story jumps from point of view to point of view. At some point, because this book is really weird, I was just like, what is going on? Like, where is this story going? And I feel like all I can tell you is that this spa retreat place that they go to is not your regular relaxation place. Like, a lot of weird things happen, and that's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to spoil the plot of this story. I'm very good at spoiling things without meaning to, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, this one had way too many points of views. The things that were happening at this spa were just weird. She's usually a mystery person, but to me it didn't feel like creepy or mysterious or ominous or anything. It just felt weird, just flat out weird. Not my favorite book by her, but I guess I'm glad I read it. Then that's it for the letters that I read. Now for my BuzzFeed reading challenge, I also only completed 2 prompts. So the first prompt that I finished was a book with the word love in the title, and for that I read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I think this is my least favorite book from Colleen Hoover. No, it's my second favorite. My second least favorite. My least favorite is Finding Cinderella, which is a novella. But anyway, this one was pretty close to that one. This follows a guy and a girl who fall in love, and he's pretty clear from the beginning that, you know, he does not want to get attached, and she's like, okay, but then she gets overly attached and then she tries to change him even though he told her things are not gonna happen. And then this is told in dual perspective. The now timeline, which is told by her, and the before timeline, which is told by him. And then you get to see the tragic story that made him who he is as a person who does not want to get attached. I don't know. I was just really annoyed. That trope of, like someone wanting to change the other person when the other person was very clear about this is all I want. Like that would just really annoyed me. Yeah. And the second prompt that I finished for this BuzzFeed reading challenge was a book featuring an amateur detective. And for that I went with this book, Little Black Book of Murder by Nancy Martin. I had purchased this a while back from Book Outlet. I think it was like $2 or something. And apparently it's the 9th book in a series. I didn't feel like confused with the characters, with their storylines. It reads pretty good as a standalone, and I guess it's a story about some sisters. But in this book we follow one of the sisters who is a reporter, but she's doing an investigation of this crime that happened. That's kind of trying to, what do you say? Like they're trying to pin it on her nephew. So she's doing this kind of like investigation as a reporter, as a journalist, to try to clear out her nephew's name and find out who killed this person. And it's interesting because the person who dies here, the rich person who dies here, was the owner of this like pig racing farm, which I thought it was really interesting because I've never heard a story like a plot line of a rich pig farmer. But anyway, yeah, this it wasn't my favorite. It took a long time to get into the story. Like I think it was like 5 or 6 chapters before we got into the, oh, we found this person dead, let's figure out who did it. So it was a lot of build up and a lot of setup at the beginning. I was kind of like okay, when are we gonna get into this like murder mystery aspect type of thing? Overall, it's a fine book. If you have it, read it. It's not a book that I would be like, oh my gosh, you have to read it. It's really good. It was funny and entertaining at times, but not my favorite book. So this book was just okay. And the other 4 books that I have here don't fit any kind of letter for the alphabet. It's either a repeat letter or the prompts don't fit for any of them. So I'm just gonna go here in order of the way that I have them here. The first one is My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. I saw the movie a while back, many years ago, like 7-8 years ago. And I loved the movie, but I like the book even more. Like, of course, there's parts that they were changed for the movie's sake. So as I was reading this, I was kind of playing the movie in my head. But then the things that were in the book that are not in the movie, I really enjoyed, especially the ending. The ending is a lot different. Broke my heart. I thought the movie ending was sad. This is even sadder than the movie ending. I loved it. I recommend it, even if you've seen the movie but you've never read the book. Read the book. You're gonna like the things that they changed. Well, the original things that they changed in the movie. I loved it. Probably my favorite book that I read this month. Then I read Undivided by Neil Shusterman. This is the 4th and final book in the Unwind series. This book was really good. It was a nice ending to a series. There's nothing I can say that's not gonna spoil the whole series, so I'm not gonna say much about it. Like I said many times before, this is a story about a world where abortion is illegal, but it's legal to unwind your children between ages of 13 and 18, which means that you volunteer them to be organ donors for whatever. So the whole thing is that you're not letting the body parts go to waste by aborting them. You're just letting them develop and then we can use them later on. This story, of course, is a very controversial subject. But Neil Shusterman, whatever side, okay. The whole subject of pro-life, pro-choice is something that I'm very passionate about. And I think that either choice, either side you're on, Neil Shusterman does a really good job about like letting you see both sides of the story. Like in between chapters, there's commercials or propaganda that makes you think, well, maybe they had a point. Like either the good propaganda or the bad propaganda, you're able to see both sides of the story. And I think when an author is able to do that, to make you see both sides of the argument on a subject that you feel very strongly about, I think that's a pretty good pretty good thing. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. This is a story that reads really fast. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Really enjoyed this series as well. Then I also read Cedi by Courtney Summers. I thought I had never read a book from Courtney Summers before, but apparently I have. I've read two. And I went on to Goodreads and I don't remember the story of neither of those two books. So I guess I didn't like them very much. But this book, Cedi, is told from also two points of views. And I read a lot of books with like multiple points of view. But this one is about Cedi. Cedi's sister was murdered and Cedi knows who it is and she goes to find revenge. And then we see the other story of this like radio person who's trying to do kind of not research but investigates. He's trying to investigate what happened to Cedi's sister and Cedi's disappearance, because Cedi, after everything happens, Cedi disappears. So you're kind of following Cedi as she disappears, and then this guy trying to find out what happened to both Cedi and her sister. This has a very open-ended ending, and so if you don't like when things are left unknown, you might not like it. But that's kind of one of the things that I enjoyed, because when I finished it, I was like, that's it? Like, what happened? Where's the rest of it? So I really enjoyed this book. This was available on my Overdrive, so I listened to it on audiobook. But I really enjoyed it. If you have Overdrive with your library, go ahead and check it out. Maybe you'll have it available too, but I really did enjoy this one. And that's kind of what I did. I think that's why I read so much, because I'm trying to read things that are in my Overdrive available. That way I can read as much as I can. So anyway, the last book that I read this month is from Ruth Ware, The Death of Mrs. Westaway. And this book, unfortunately, I think it's my least favorite from Ruth Ware. I've read 3 of her other books, and I think this is my least favorite. This is about this girl. What is her name? See, I even forgot her name. Harriet. She receives a letter that she inherited like this estate. But as far as Harriet knows, like all her family is dead. Her mom died, her grandparents died. She is into a lot of debt. She is a card reader. What do you call it? The people that read the cards. What are those cards called? I can't remember. But she reads cards, and of course she barely makes any money to get by. So she's been borrowing money from questionable people, and they come to collect, and of course she doesn't have it because she can't even like support herself. And then she gets this letter saying that she inherited this estate, and she's like, it's gotta be the wrong person. But she's in such a bad shape financially that she's like, whatever, I'm just gonna go with it and see what I can get out of this. So then as we follow Harriet into this whole estate and her meeting her other family, she starts discovering secrets, and she's thinking, well, maybe this isn't a mistake, maybe this really I am part of this family. And so we follow her story. There's a couple of twists and turns here that I didn't see coming. I'm really bad at seeing twists and turns coming to begin with, but there were a couple of twists here that I didn't see. And overall I enjoyed it, but it's not my favorite book from Ruth Ware. The Woman in Cabin 10, I think that's my favorite one from her. And then In a Dark, Dark Wood, and then The Lying Game, and then this one. So anyway, but that's it, guys. Those are the 8 books that I read in the month of May. Let me know what you guys think about the books that I read. If you guys have any recommendations, let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, And I will see you guys next month with my reading wrap up for June. Thanks for watching. Bye.